today I will be creating a game in 15 minutes. This game right here is legit playable. I'm also gonna be attempting to make the same game but with no time limit. So with that said, let's just get started. I tried around with 10-minute mark instead of 15-minute, but the game didn't seem as good and unique, so I pushed it up to 15 minutes to make the game more professional. And once the time was started, there was no way back. I started off with a empty game object, which will be the player. There are two things to say right now. The first thing being, I am gonna go ahead and then double the speed of the 15-minute process of creating the game because I just don't want to make it boring. And the second thing, I did import some assets before even getting started to prepare myself up. The two assets which I imported are post-processing and of course my own asset called prefab scripting. Okay, getting started. I started off with a empty game object which will be the player and another empty game object which will be the pivot which the arrow will rotate, and you'll see what I mean in some time. I created a circle which in this case is the player, and I also dragged and dropped the arrow into the pivot that will be rotating. The next step to take was to create a circle collider 2D. Of course the player need to collide, and once I had the collision set for the circle, it was now time for some walls and obstacles, and in this case it's the land which is black in color. And again, I thought of keeping it minimal and everything seemed well right now. The player was seemingly colliding with the land and so on. Since now we have all of that done, it was finally some time for some C#. I of course started off with some public variables. And at the beginning I just wanted the arrow to rotate around the player, so I of course set a transform arrow and made that rotate around. And yeah, I realized I forgot to drag and drop the transform, and once that was done, everything seemed well and the arrow was rotating around the pivot, and that is exactly what I wanted. Now that you have very limited timing, you of course expect me to copy around with the code from the official Unity documentation. And finally, once I had all the obstacles done, I had to set up a bigger final place where the player could land on, which is basically the last step where the player actually wins. It is this platform right here on which the player is gonna land on. Now that I have the final setup ready, we have the obstacles done, we have the player also done, and of course now everything works well. There are some effects which we need to add to make it a better game, and so I decided to add this PNG right here just to add some lighting effects and then make the game more creepy and dark. Of course, the lighting effects looks bad because of obvious reasons, but it was fairly effective considering I had very less time left to complete the whole game, and yeah, the time was up. Okay, that was something. It was fairly good when we consider that it was made just in 15 minutes. With that said, this was really a pale game and I don't think it's gonna be of any use considering it doesn't even look or feel so good. I would wonder how it would actually look if we took infinite amount of time. What if we had a limitless time which we can use to create the complete game? I went ahead, added some more effects, made the game look better and made the player look better first of all, and there were a lot of other stuff which I did, including adding some particle systems and post-processing and so on, and this really drastically increased the quality of the game and the appearance in general of the complete game. I also went ahead and then added a background just to add the feel of the game, considering background was completely blue and of course not so good. The background which I added was more red and black themed, which really just increased the creepiness of the game, which is actually exactly what I wanted. And finally, the game was done. And by the way, I also added some sound effects and then made the game sound good, added some more post-processing effects. Along with that, I also added a lot more off-camera just to keep the element of surprise for those of you watching this video till the end.
2,000 years later. One eternity later.
Okay, that does it for this video. Of course, this game is not good enough to be monetized, but I have to say this game is very addictive. You'll love it if you start playing it. That being said, if you have watched this video till now, you probably like it. Hit that like button and subscribe to get more videos like this, and of course not to miss out on any other future videos. And with that said, I will meet you in the next video. Goodbye.